So let's look at some of the strategies to reduce harmful use of alcohol that are being pursued around the world and in some parts of Canada. So one of them, of course, is by increasing public awareness, particularly of the low-risk drinking guidelines. That obviously needs to be put in better and plainer language, Madam Speaker, but this would speak directly, for example, to things like drinking games. It would emphasize the fact that at a certain level, alcohol becomes a poison and can become catastrophic in its impacts. So that is the kind of awareness that would come from these sorts of campaigns of low-risk drinking guidelines. So what happens when you get beyond the low-risk drinking guidelines in an acute situation, in terms of the acute, immediate impacts, Madam Speaker? I think if more students were and young people were well aware of this, it only could help. It only could help. And aware that it's different for different people, different for women than men, different for different body weights, and of course different depending on what you've had to eat and what you haven't had to eat. So that's important. The second one for reducing the harmful use of alcohol that's commonly used is restricting availability of alcohol. And, Madam Speaker, that's an issue I've raised before, something that we'll talk about again later, but the availability of alcohol has become almost normalized. And that's a problem, because if it's that normalized, the assumption automatically is, well, it can't hurt me. You know, if it's there on the shelves among the pop and chips, how can it hurt me? It's just treated like, Coca-Cola. So I think that's got to change, Madam Speaker. But the other thing that's become normalized, sadly, in our society is the harm that alcohol does. And that should never happen. It's almost become normalized that there's some level of acceptance that there are deaths as a result of alcohol abuse, that there are a significant number of people who become dependent on alcohol, who develop alcoholism, a disease, that a certain number of people are going to develop disease directly, other diseases, or get in car accidents from alcohol. It's almost become normalized. The impacts, the consequences have become normalized in society. That should never happen, Madam Speaker. And I think the death of Brady Grattan from a drinking game broke through that. So we have to work hard to ensure that the consequences don't continue to be normalized, that those consequences are visible and out there and are clear and put to young people and older people, for that matter, in a meaningful, effective way. And that's part of the kind of educational program that could be enhanced in our schools, Madam Speaker.